than your currency. Splurging millions, buying houses like Monopoly. Fucking 9 to 5, man, the money is a joke to me. Buying cryptocurrency, my money in the privacy. I make it rain dollars.
Hey guys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of the No.B.S. with Birchy podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Birch, and this is the show unraveling the truth to the facade of the 21st century. We're now exiting the Matrix and waking up to motherfucking reality. Today, I have a very special guest with me here today. He's come all the way over from Auckland.
Yep.
So we've got Jonathan here. I want to introduce Jonathan today. It's rare that I have someone else on the podcast, but I actually reached out to you on Instagram because I'd seen that you'd been featured in the local newspaper there. It's like the big newspaper in New Zealand, yeah?
NZ Herald, yeah.
NZ Herald. And we have communicated over the last, how long has it been? Like 6-7 years?
Yeah, it must have been quite a few years, yeah.
Quite a few years?
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to get you on for is that, like, I've got people, people might be watching this, listening to this, and thinking, I can't build a portfolio today. It's, 2022, we've seen the prices go up, or this is wrong, or that's wrong. And people quite often say to me, oh yeah, Nathan, if you put someone out there, like I've got hundreds of people that have 6, 7, 10, properties in their portfolio, but people like they're your clients, right? I wanted to get you on because I've seen your growth. You came to me when you had 11 properties, you're 21 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I saw some of the comments on the news articles. I've been on the news like that as well, and I see people go, oh, you must have had a silver spoon in your mouth. Your parents must have given you the money, all that sort of shit. And I know the truth because I've seen you over the years trying to thug it out and hustle to push yourself to the next level. And I admire that, and I just thought, people think they can't do it here in Australia. What's the cheapest property someone could find in New Zealand at the moment?
Probably 150 grand, I'd say.
150k, yeah. People quite often say,
cheapest here, right?
Well, it's cheapest here. There's stuff here like 50k and stuff like that. And
but you can, like, if you look at like multi-units but for first property, I'd say probably 150.
Yeah. And here in Australia, like, the opportunities are far greater. Like, we've had the chats offline beforehand about it. Like, the opportunities here in Australia are so much greater, but people think they can't do it, right?
Yeah.
Here you are on another fucking continent, on another part of the world, right? In New Zealand, you've got the same strategy, simple strategy, buying well-priced properties. You're 26 years old now. 26, you've got 51 properties. Your portfolio's worth more than 20 million, is that right? And that you've got over $1 million worth of gross rental income. You're 26 years old. You've been able to do it in 6-7 years.
Nothing compared to you though, man. But
like you're doing well. Like, I think I have news articles from when I was 25 years old. I had 25 properties at 25, right?
There was there was another one. I remember I saw it. I was like, damn, he bet me, because it was like Nathan 25 by 52 by 25.
Yes.
I was like 51.
Yeah.
Beat me by one, but
it's something that you've done really well, and I wanted to get you on because I think there's a lot that success leaves clues. Like, you've been watching my journey, and you've been motivated to do your own goals. I just thought it'd be cool to have you on, and things that you could share to other people that could inspire them, to motivate them, whether it's here in Australia, whether it's in New Zealand, whether it's in UK, Canada, America, Russia, China, wherever someone's watching us from, to be able to go and do it themselves. So I've got some questions for you, actually. So just maybe the first one is, what made you want to invest in the property in the first place?
For me, it was... I came across Warren Buffett. I don't know if you're a big fan of him or not, but...
Not the biggest fan, but I got some respect because he's done cool things and stuff.
He's done a lot, Yeah, well, I came across him when I was quite young, maybe 11, or I think maybe I was 13.
Yeah.
And, just like, I decided, right, I want to be a billionaire like Warren Buffett, and do it with shares like he has. And I kind of followed that path at school. Went to uni, started doing a commerce degree, and started to get into finance. And I was kind of frustrated at that point because, I was thinking, even if I make 20%, 30% on my savings, and I do that year on year, it's going to take ages till I get to anything substantial.
Yeah.
And I joined this club at uni called the Investment Club, and it was just like a whole bunch of like wannabe Warren Buffetts, all talking about shares and stuff all the time. And they had this guest speaker called Ollie Newland come along, and he just kind of explained the leverage aspect of property, and I was like, yes, this could be a way, because if you put in 20% deposit and buy something that's worth 5 times what you're putting in, and then you get 20% or 30% on that, the compounding effect takes over. So that was kind of like a bit of a light bulb moment for me when I came across him, and it made me think, this could be a way.
Okay, cool. And when did you buy your first one?
I was 18.
18. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's your end goal?
Oh, the end goal.
I know we've spoken about it, and you want to just keep buying. Like I actually think over the years, like the hurdles that you've been like, Nathan, what do we do now? Like there's always a hurdle to get over.
There is.
You're at 51. How many?
I mean, I'd like to get to 100. But I just lately I've been thinking I just want to do something massive. Thinking big, like I was saying before about that Donald Trump. He got this property under contract, 61 million, and he had like no money. I think he put 250 grand in, to buy an option on it. Yeah. And he pulled it off, and that's got me thinking. I don't quite know what my next step is. I'm thinking about what you're doing with buying these motels. And vendor financing them. All I know is I just want to do something big. And,
you got a formula down there that works. You look at Macca's, and Macca's have a simple cheeseburger, right? And it's just a strategy that you rinse and repeat. You've been able to do it from 1 property, 2 properties, 3 properties, 10 properties, 20 properties. So you've been doing this for 8 years now. Like, what? It's only 8 years, right? You got 50
that
properties.
Feels like ages, though. But
if you came across your 18-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
I'd probably say like something that I do think I did, but focus on it, which is like just try and focus on listening to the right people that have done what you want to do. Like I remember back when I was 18, I worked at a call center, so I was literally on the phone talking to people for a certain number of hours every day. So I was like, my time is definitely getting eaten up. Like it's hard to think about something else when you're talking to someone, And back then I was always thinking like, any time that I'm not on the phone talking to someone, I want to be utilizing it as much as I can, listening to and learning from people that have got what I want or have done what I want to do. And you're a big part of that. Like I listened to YouTube, Nathan, and that was really important for me. So I'd say that just focus on like I reckon you are what you feed yourself. So feed yourself good content. Hopefully you'll produce something good.
Exactly. I see we're in a world today where everyone's watching Netflix and shit like that. And I was talking to a mate the other day. He had his kid's birthday party or something he went to, and I said to him, how's the birthday party, right? Like, was it fun? Like in a sarcastic way. And he's like, mate, he goes, one thing that I realised, he goes, everybody here was poor, right? And he said it wasn't poor like as if they're poor. They're living the middle class life, but they're poor because of what they put in their mind, and they're all talking to each other about who's going to win the game today, and following football and sports and shit like that. I could sit here and ask you what's your favourite sport, but I don't. I assume you probably.
I'm not really a big follower of any of them, but
following the property market, right? Following your mortgage broker around, following what you need to do. How do you?
Actually should support them a bit more, but.
I couldn't find anything more boring than watching sport.
Oh, really?
I never watched any sport. Never played sport. Don't watch sport. What do you like? So if people watching this will be like, "Fuck! I wish I had 51 properties." Right? I want to be like Jonathan, but like you've got 51 in 8 years. Did you think at the start that you'd have 51 properties in 8 years?
No, not for the first one. The first one. I just no. I'd say probably a couple in. I was like, I think I came across you, and I saw that you'd bought heaps, and that probably helped me aim high. It's like, shit, I want to get like 100. It's like, Because what did you get to, like 200 and something by 30 or?
I've got about 230 now. Plus, then I've got the motels. I don't even count the motels in there. But if we look at the motels, they're massive. Like some of them have got like, one of them I'm settling on short, he's got 100 rooms in it. So it's like 100 units in one head, right? So, but like when you think about like what we were just talking about beforehand, where do you want to be in the future? Like you go, okay, I want to push to the next level, I want to be billionaire, I want to be like Trump or whatever. If you didn't think you could get 51 properties 8 years ago, imagine what you're going to be now that you've got the assets there, what you can do in the next 8 years and the following 20. Yeah. So what do you now define success as, like personally as success, like, you know, not just property or
not like financially or just
anything,
in general.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to someone about it the other day, and I thought it was quite a good point they had.
Yeah.
Which was rather than looking at success financially, I reckon, you know, like the ultimate success is like when you're on your deathbed, you know, and you're looking around, looking back at your life and thinking about the quality of the relationships you had with people. Yeah. And, you know, you're on your deathbed, you're thinking, who's there? Who loves me? Yeah. I reckon that's a good measure of success, you know, like, you know, at that point. Rather than looking at it just financially. Obviously, I've got all those goals, but, you know, I think, it's important.
That's good. That's good because for me, I think, you know, success is, you know, having control of your life, like, and we've spoken about that a lot over the years, like, you know, controlling
doing what you want, when you want,
how you want, growing a rat's tail if you want, wearing genders
if you
want. What's like you run a business as well, and like I have no affiliation with it, but I always, you know, like to share the love. Like you're in New Zealand, and you know you're doing cool things over there. You've got a business similar like what I do here with B.Invested now. You've come across other investors nowadays that you help out. What are some of, you know, the misconceptions that you think people have around property and property investing that you come across on a daily basis?
I would probably say often people think that landlords, like, they're all rich and make a lot of money from them, you know, but it's not the case. You know, a lot of people might have one property or two properties and you know, be content with that, and people point the finger and say, yep, they're loaded because they're a landlord, but it's just not true. I think, you know, that's a misconception. You need to buy a lot of them and look at it like a business to make it work and do well for you, sort of thing.
I think that I've never seen anyone that's got one or two properties, unless they've got like a nice big block of units that has like a underperforming yield, that just retires off one or two properties at any scale. One of the things that I think I've seen over the last 15 years or so in business is that most of the people that own the properties out there, if you've got a tenant at any sort of property, if you're renting a property, sit there and think, okay, who owns my property, right? Like most of the people that own the property, they may not have any other asset. They may not even have a house that they live in. They could just be rent investing.
Investing.
They're just everyday people. So cool. So
would you say that's the same thing? That's the biggest misconception?
Oh, there's lots of them. Yeah. People think that only houses go up, where it's not good to buy units or villas or townhouses. That's probably one of the biggest ones. It's like, well, some of my best buys that I've had. I just showed you I just showed you a house beforehand, not going into where it is and stuff, but the house that I bought delivered, right? And that thing
Insane.
there. But that house, like the house that I was living in before this was 100 years old. It was a shitty old fibro thing that needed to be knocked down.
Right.
And for me, I was going to build a house, and I thought, it cost a lot of money to build that thing. I sold a unit recently that I bought for 300 grand thereabouts, going back 10 years ago. I sold it for 1.1 million. Right? that little unit, I've never stepped foot in it, right?
Wow.
But that got me into my dream house. And there's so many people out there that be thinking, units don't go up in value and all that sort of shit. But I think that's probably the biggest one that I would have seen.
Yeah, and often the numbers are a lot better on them, because the cash flow side of things.
Yeah. You could scale and you could have $2 million worth of units or $1 million worth of house. If they double, you got double the amount of growth. And you've got multiple rental income streams that can go up in value. So
that's right,
Was there a time that you wanted to quit, or that you had a moment where you're like, it's not worth it, or moment of doubt?
There's been plenty of times where I've been questioning it. It's like, what the hell am I doing? Working your guts out. But quitting's never been an option. It's always in the back of my mind is, I'm building a solid foundation for myself and hopefully a family one day and all that. So I haven't thought about quitting, but yeah.
Just thinking about, like, we talked about your net worth before and stuff, right? If you sold all your shit today, right, and just go, cool, I'm going to cash out, right?
Yeah.
In 5 lifetimes as a normal person working, right, you couldn't earn what you've built in equity, right? You think about it, right? Like, no matter what happens, like,
So.
What sort of got you through those times where you thought it was all too hard of that? Like, there might be someone watching that's, you know.
I reckon just that thinking in the back of my mind, what am I doing it for? And then also thinking about people like you, who I'm like, shit, man, he's doing so much more than me. I need to keep up, you know? And I reckon just, aiming for that 1%.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people where I look to them and I'm like, man, they're just pushing so hard, you know? I'm like, I need to do more.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And what sort of, we're talking about success, we're talking about your portfolio, like just looking at your properties and getting into the 51, what contributed like to that success? Like, what do you think was your top 3 things that helped you get the 51 properties in 8 years?
I'd probably say number 1 is learning about the finance side of things. Like, I think I probably got a bit of a natural interest in figuring out how the banks look at me, what I need to do to get the lending, you know? I think that's a massive part of it, and sort of naturally being into it, you know, talking to the mortgage broker on the phone and picking his brains about all these things and putting the pieces together. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Okay.
And then probably trying to find good deals, getting a lot of satisfaction out of that, you know?
Okay, yeah.
You can probably relate.
The thrill of the chase. I'm constantly like...
It's like fishing, you know? Like, you want to get a kingfish.
Exactly. It's you look at my apps of what apps I use, and I go like this, and people would think I'm on Tinder or something, swiping away, but I'm really just I'm on realestate.com or whatever, looking up deals. So, Any other things? Or?
Those are probably the 2 biggest ones.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think there's lots of things that have contributed along the way. Just, you know, as far as I wasn't on the spot, I wasn't even thinking about it. I think, you know, just learning and taking action. I think a lot of people, you know, it's important to have clarity and to workshop your goals. I think a lot of people will just jump in and have their own preconceived ideas about, I should buy a property, I should do this, but people are not looking at it from a business perspective. So you need to plan out, workshop scenario A, B, C, D, and then work out what the alternatives are by taking those steps. And if, you know, you want to make sure that you're basing your figures on your worst case scenario and taking action, because so many people don't take action. Like,
yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah. What skill set do you think you've developed now that you didn't have before?
Just through building portfolios.
Yeah, building the portfolio,
Skill set. I'd probably say just good at understanding that finance side of things. And probably communication as well is probably quite a good one. Like, even working in that call center job, that taught me, I think, you know, it helped me with being on the phone. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, if you've got to be able to communicate clearly, especially when there's lots of things going on and you just want to get a clear message across what it is you're trying to achieve. I think that's probably pretty important. What do you reckon?
Lots of things. Lots of things, like being able to adapt and grow and change. A lot of people get stuck. You know, one of my first jobs was at a sales role, and I was a very dorky kid. I had no friends, and like having to go knock on doors and go and ask people, hey, and being told to fuck off out of the house builds confidence. And I think there's lots of things that go to, you know, you need to grow and evolve. There's not just one hat. Like in my businesses, if I look at the business world, I've got to put on like 10 different hats every day. I've got to put from the janitor picking up something on the ground that someone could trip over to, you know, being the admin person to doing the tasks that you don't want to have to do. And So I guess, sorry.
I was just going to say, I reckon another thing, which you didn't touch on, which is probably I just picked up from you again today, is like the ability to zoom out and think big, you know? And like focus on what's really important, because it's so easy to just get caught up in the day-to-day admin stuff, and not focus on what you're trying to achieve. And I think over the years I've gotten more and more like that, you know, where I heard this quote the other day, and it was like, every week at the start of the week, you should you should say to yourself, right, if I could only work 2 hours in this whole week, and that was it, I couldn't work the rest of it, what would I focus on? If you ask yourself that every week, then it automatically sort of helps you prioritize and make sure you get it done.
Keep that one for later. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I guess getting to 51 properties, you're young. I remember back in the day, people laughed at me for sacrificing my youth and for all that. What sacrifices, like when I say what sacrifice, you're still 26, right? Like it's still young, whatever you sacrifice, right? A lot of people sacrifice 40 years of their life to work a job, or 50 years of their life. They sacrifice 6 years, 8 years at university or whatever. What sort of things do you reckon that you've sacrificed that to get to there?
There's definitely lots of times where I've been working hard, and I don't want to be negative about it. I'd rather,
it's okay.
I look at the positives. Like, I've always enjoyed what I've been doing, and even though I've been working hard, there's been plenty of times I've been slogging my guts out, and I thought to myself, man, I see friends out partying or whatever, and wish I was doing that. But then at the same time, I'm like, I'm happy I'm building a foundation, and the next 30 years are going to be fantastic. So, and now I'm happy with where I'm at in life, and I can do what I want. I don't have to answer to anyone, sort of thing. Really,
that's good.
And so I probably picked that up from you. Actually, I remember you. Yeah. That's been drilled into my mind. Listening to all the virtue on YouTube. You always were about you sacrifice 10 years of your life for the next 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And but I definitely think I've lived life and I've enjoyed it. Yeah. I've done some partying and all that, and there's plenty more to come, I hope.
they're all choices and options that we take. Like people have options. Like we all get 24 hours in a day. People can sit there and complain about shit and moan. And I think a level of mental toughness comes into that, to be able to go, yes, I'm making this choice, but people are too, is a bit of controversial one. I think people are too weak out there. Like they get too, cotton wool, and they're feeling like they're missing out or some shit like that. And a lot of people say, like, oh, what are you doing on the weekend, or what are you going to do? People always ask me, what are you going to do on the weekend? It's like, I don't fucking know. I'm just going to do whatever I feel like every day, right? And I think having a life that you don't have to escape from.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I actually, for me, it comes back to the individual person, but I reckon nowadays it's all getting worse in that, you go on TikTok, for example, and you see say that Andrew Tate guy we were talking about, or just some real wealthy people, billionaires, they're partying on their yachts and all this stuff, and it's kind of like, you go on your phone, you're like, shit, I'm not doing that. For me, I would see that and be like, man, I need to push hard because I want to be able to do that one day. Yeah. And, so nowadays it's even more in your face, whereas,
but I think a lot of people want that experience, but they're not willing to do what it takes to get there. True. And something a long time ago I saw, and I thought about this, people will take photos of their watch in front of their fucking BMW shit, right? People that have money, they don't take photos of shit, right? They're not taking photos of it. If you drive around in a fucking Lambo, right? Your Lambo becomes like a Ford, right? It's just it's just a car, right? You don't go and take a photo of it every day and go, oh, hey, this is what it is. Rich people don't take a photo of their money. So it's like there's heaps. I feel old when you say, "Oh, when I'm on TikTok and shit," I'm like, I download TikTok and I was like, "This is stupid, man. I'm gonna delete it." Yeah. But I shouldn't be like that. But on TikTok, because I know it's a good audience. But looking at that, it's important to look at where you're going to, and
it's interesting seeing how you've changed a bit over the years, because I remember you used to have all the cars and stuff.
Yeah,
you had $1 million worth of cars.
Yeah. I remember taking photos on Facebook. It was here's $1 million of cars in the basement of the office.
What changed you, do you reckon, from that?
It was a good question. I bought about $1 million worth of cars. I had Bentleys and G-Bangers and G-Wagon for those. And I had all these different collectible cars and stuff. And there was a point when I needed to, firstly, every time I go to the shops, I'd be like, fuck, someone scratched my cars, a dent in it, stuff like that. Someone smashed the window of my G-Wagon.
Really?
I had a G-Wagon for about 2 months. Someone smashed it, broke into it, and then bits of glass were in the console. It was never the same car again.
Yeah.
I just hated it. And I was like, I got to a point where I actually bought $10 million worth of property once, and I couldn't settle the properties, and I needed cash. So I sold my cars. I sold a few cars, and then I was like, I didn't even care about the cars. So I've driven $500 cars. I've driven $500,000 cars, and I realized it's just a car at the end of the day. It's just a vehicle. It's the same thing. But what I felt in the car, I felt a different person. It's like, you put on a mask, you put on a suit, you put on an avatar, right? It's like an extension of something, and it's like I didn't need the extension,
Yeah.
but it's cool to have the cars. Do
you reckon if you were doing it again, you still would have done that? Or no?
I wouldn't change anything because I'm happy with where I'm at. They're the decisions. That I think the biggest growth over the years. I don't know how much adversity you've had. I've had heaps of it, right? I've had heaps of things. You said beforehand about people think that property investors are these really successful, rich people and stuff. Yeah. But I've had heaps of adversity that I've had to overcome. And I think every time you get adversity, you get a level of growth. It's like you find a problem, then you've got to find a solution to overcome that. People don't grow because they're too comfortable with their surroundings. So, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
The person I've had to become wasn't the person I started out. You're not the person that your 18-year-old version. You've had to grow, change, adapt, learn.
Yeah.
So.
No, I reckon that's quite a good point actually. Like if you have something and you're really comfortable in it, can take you away from the hunger.
So the thing is with the cars is that the more possessions that you have in life, like I'm not a minimalist. I have, lots of cool things going on and stuff like that. But the more things that you have, the more things you have to worry about, the more things you have to stress about.
Yeah.
If you have 10 cars, you have to think, fuck, are they all registered, right? You go into your shed or in your garage, your basement, and you've got 10 cars, and you go start one up, it's like, fuck, I haven't driven this for a while. I've got to put some jumpstart the car, right? And this one's got no petrol, it's not starting. And it's like, it drags you down, and it's where you direct your energy. I've got too many other things that I want to do and achieve than be worried about, fuck, is the car going to start?
I reckon what you need is you just need like an employee just to manage your cars.
Well, I haven't had to do that for a while because I had the $500 one, right? But yeah, so it's cool.
Yeah.
I guess on that note as well, like we were talking about it beforehand, like you've got your business that you're doing now, you've got your properties that you're doing, you've worked in jobs, all that. And one thing that I take from you, actually always like learning from other people as well, and it was like, we were talking about some deals beforehand that you're working on, and you're like, I just want to focus on doing big deals, the business stuff, it takes up time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel that you're doing it. I want to fucking take over the world nowadays, right? There's so many things I want to do, right? But I'm stress myself, work myself right out.
Yeah.
But from talking to you, like, I feel that there's a very important level of lifestyle. What's important for the work-life balance? Like, if we're only living once and we've got 80 years, balance. 100 years of
I reckon you just want to be doing what you want to be doing every day and, not resenting it. Like, say, for instance, you have 24 hours in a day, what would be an ideal day for you? Oh, man.
Let's say we, go, fuck, we've got 500 properties, they're all paid up for, cash flowing in. What would you do with your time?
I think that the biggest thing would probably be being around people that I want to be around.
Yeah.
And just having fun.
Yeah.
And wanting to get out of bed every morning and be like, yes, I've got to start this day. As cliche as it is. I don't know. What's your ideal 24 hours?
Oh, it's just... here's something. I get myself in difficult positions all the time, right? I'm constantly pushing myself so fucking far, right? So and sometimes I sit there and go, I shouldn't be pushing myself, right? I asked a motel company the other day how many motels someone settled in the day, because I was going to settle 5 in a day, and he goes, Nathan, and sometimes I feel like I annoy him, right? Because of things don't go right, and and he goes, the most we've ever had is 2, right? I was like, fuck, I want to settle 5, right? I'll push myself, because if I don't have something to go chase, I didn't need to get out of bed. Yeah. Right? So I think it's important to keep pushing.
Exactly.
But some people want to go party and travel. Some people want to spend time with their kids. Some people want to go and save koalas or fucking sheep in New Zealand. I don't know. As what they're passionate about.
Yeah, did you ever do that, travelling and all that, or no?
I'm scared of aeroplanes.
Planes,
I'm scared of planes. I've gone to helicopters fine, but I just bought the reason why I bought my big truck that I just got, it's a 11-ton gross vehicle mass with the thing. Yeah, it's I'm going to be towing a big motorhome around the country. and I'm going to do a big lap around different states and go to all different locations and live lifestyle. Do my work from the car and from the road.
Why don't you just stay in all your motels?
But getting in between them and stuff, right? Like going to remote areas. And
right.
I don't have motels. I want to get 100, but I haven't got 100 yet. And,
I think there's actually quite a good thing about that is like, and you know, we're talking about Ben Muller.
Yeah.
I heard him saying, because he's got a big yacht.
Yeah.
And he was like, the good thing about it is that, you know, when you're traveling around, when you're flying different places, staying in different hotels, you've got to keep packing up all your stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have like a motorhome, it's all just set up and you just take it where you want. Same with a boat.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So that's quite a good point.
That's what I was thinking, right? Because like, how many times do you have to get like your car, like you say you've got a few people going with you, you know, you've got to then go and take everyone's bags out. Where does it sit? Does it sit in the boot? Does it sit in the ute tray? You know, do you have a trailer? And then I really just saw the caravan that I was getting was like, this is a big trailer. And then I was like, what sort of caravans are there? And it sort of escalated. I thought, oh, you get a caravan for like 20 grand, 30 grand. I want to brand new everything.
Yeah.
I was like 40 grand, 60 grand, 80 grand, 100 grand, 120 grand. Wow, they're making 200 grand today, right? And suddenly you end up driving out with a fucking, you know, most people are going for a Rolls Royce, right? And you're driving out with a fucking truck with a motorhome attached to it. Yeah. And, but I think that's the powerful part, right? Like, because most people, like, what could be spent on a caravan could be someone's house, right?
Yeah,
and people are making those decisions every day and having the freedom to do, what you want, when you want, how you want. So, guys, I just realised we can sit here all day and talk about cool stuff, right? I think the audience are really going to enjoy what we've got here today. So what I'm going to do is end it here for today. We're going to have part 2. See you back next week. You can always tune into us on Google Play, Apple Play, Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. And if you've got any questions, reach out to the team, 1300 367 925. And how do people find you, Jonathan?
Getproperty.co.nz, or maybe add me on Insta, Jonathan Brownlee NZ, or Facebook.
Awesome, cool. We'll catch up with you soon, and we'll be back next week. Cheers.
Like Bilal said, man, we're stuck in the matrix. This my advice, don't care if you take it. The dollar about to die, soon to be hyperinflated. This my 2 cents, don't care if you save it. Joint be decentralized, and you will see you been lied to the whole time, and it's the irony, cause they do the exact opposite. You become a slave to the system, enough your money, all they do is profit. There's no conspiracy theory, you better hear me. Crypto will set you free before the system does. I don't care if you do or you don't, but what I'm saying is the truth to the reason you choke. I've never been a failure, excuse my behavior. Keep talking, haters doing me a favor. They all tell lies, I know what they been telling you. I'm the opposite, the Donald Trump of Australia. It's amazing, here for the taking. My time is never wasted, just getting wasted.